Hello, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Shepherd's Light Ministry online community. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pastor Randy. And today we are going to focus on the Book of Deuteronomy. It's part of our daily reading, and it's one of my go-to books. I love Deuteronomy. It's so filled with so many blessings, and it teaches you you can walk in the blessings, you can walk in the curses, just be obedient. It is a book of obedience, and I absolutely just love this book. And there's a lot I like. Deuteronomy's on the top. Okay, it's one of the top books. It's probably my top book in the Old Testament. I don't know. Jonah's pretty good, and so is Esther and Ruth. I don't know. So, anyways, they're all good, okay? This has a little bit icing on the cake. And this one, it's a good teaching. And it's from Moses, and I'm gonna educate you a little bit so you know what you're reading. And it's not just blessing and curses. And remember, there's 30,000 blessings in the Bible, but they all have an if. If you do this, I will do this. How many times do we do that with our kids? If you behave, you can have a toy at the store. Well, I guess it's the same concept, but God, he's bigger. Just think bigger. He just wants us to trust him, to lean on him, to put him first. And he shall bless us because he gives us blessings. Remember, he's a father. What do parents do? They bless us. But what do they want us to do also? They want us to behave, right? Don't you want your kids to behave? I know it's so elementary, but this is kind of how I sum this book up to try to make it into simpler terms for you to totally understand. But let's go into this a little bit. It's the 5th book of the Bible. And part of the Torah. It's the last one. It's the last book of the record of Moses. And this is the farewell to Israel. It's given about 1260 BC on the plains of Moab on the day of entry to the promised land. So it's like the last day of going into the promised land, or some say the eve of the promised land. The Greek title implied a second law giving. Okay, it's giving the law a second time. But in fact, the book contains a restatement and a reformation. I'm not doing this today. I could not talk yesterday, and it's not happening today. I'm able to say words today. I'm claiming it right now. So the reformation of this covenant. So he's reaffirming, saying, hey, this is God's covenant. Come on, this is what he asked us to do. Can we do it? We don't let our kids go somewhere if they don't clean their room first, right? So let's clean ourselves up, and God will use us and let us go places that we could never imagine, because that's part of his blessings. He wants to use us, but he can't use us if we don't let him do what he needs to inside of us. If we don't let him clean us up, if we don't let him refresh us, restore us, and renew us, if we don't walk in the holiness and righteousness, we have to have vulnerability with the Lord and say, here, God, I'm going to do this because I love you. And in return, he loves us enough that he lets us walk in the blessings. He lets us walk into things that we never thought we would. And our harvest shall be bountiful. Our harvest of souls shall be bountiful. Those that we bring into the kingdom shall be bountiful. Why? Because we're a light in the darkness. And that's what God wants to do with us. He wants us to be that light. He wants us to be separated. He wants us to be walking in the world, but not living of the world. We have to be separated. And this book teaches us that separation. It teaches us how to surrender to him, how to say, God, I'm yours, use me. I'm willing to do the ifs. I'm willing to put you first. I'm willing to listen to your law and your words. I'm willing, use me. That's what this is. Cleanse me, use me, restore me. That's what the book of Deuteronomy is. So it's the second law, the second or a copy of the law, according to verse 17, 18. And it comes from the Hebrew word mashina, machine, M-I-S-H-N-E-H, Mishneh. I think it's Mishneh. Not a Hebrew expert. It means repetition or doubling of the law, doubling it. So we doubled the law, right? He's saying this a second time, like he's reaffirming it. He's saying, okay, here it is. The name is given due to the repetition of the 10 commandments in chapter 5. He's repeating it. Sometimes we got to repeat stuff to get it down in our spirit, to get it down inside of us. Remember, there's freedom in the law. If we follow the law, there's freedom. If everyone would follow it and nobody murdered anyone, we don't have to worry about getting murdered. There's freedom. We can walk around in freedom. If nobody, thou shalt not lie. If nobody lies, we don't have to worry about people lying. We can walk in freedom. Thou shalt not steal. If nobody's stealing, we don't have to lock our doors. There's freedom in the law, right? Freedom. So this is the fifth book of the Pentateuch, the Torah, also known as the Law of Moses. Well, guess what? There's a news check, because Moses might have told us the law, but the law came from God. God gave the law. Moses just brought it to us. He presented it to the people after God told him, like, this is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to live. Moses is like, this is what God said. Moses brought it to the people. God told Moses, and Moses told it to the people. He was just a messenger. He was just the vessel that God was using. And why was he a vessel? Because he's a great man of God, and we're going to go into that. This law was to govern Israel until the Messiah should come. That's what this law was. And why was Moses used? Moses was a great man of God and is known for finding Israel's religion. But he did not give the law or the instructions. They came from God. Remember that. Remember that. He had a very good relationship with God. And if we follow this book, like, there's Nehemiah, Moses, and both of them followed God's instructions. And both of them were used mightily. Why? Because they followed God's instructions. They were willing vessels. They were obedient. They lived in righteousness. Amen? So they were used mightily because of their willingness to walk in righteousness. Another one that was used is Hezekiah. Hezekiah was used huge, and we're going to get to Hezekiah later. And Esther was also, all three of them, all of them found favor. And they found favor because they walked in righteousness. They walked in obedience. They had faith, they trusted in God, and they leaned on him. They put him first. So they were used greatly in the Bible. It's not just Moses, there's others. Moses was just, we're focusing on him right now because he's the one that wrote the first 5 books. He's the one that started and he's the one that set the standard, right? He's the one here. And he had such an intimate relationship with God that God trusted him with a position of leadership because of that intimate relationship that he had. He was so intimate with God. He got to have a face-to-face conversation. And that's why God used him. It's because of the relationship, because of its intimacy. He was hesitant to take this position. he's like, I can't talk, I stutter. Like, he was very hesitant. He gave God all the reasons not to be used. But guess what? God gave him a solution to that problem. He gave him people to help him. He gave him Aaron and Hur to hold his arms up, to speak for him when he needed someone to speak for. God gave him a solution to the problem. Why? Because when God wants to use us, there are no problems. He already has a way. He already has the path. We just have to take it. We shouldn't even be looking at these problems. We need to just focus on what God told us and go with it. Yes, he had a problem. Yes, he went to God and God gave him the solutions. But we need to just go. Just do it. God already provided. He already made a way. There's a solution to your problem. We just got to figure it out. And if you can't, don't worry. Moses asked and he got the answer, right? So don't be worried. Just say, God, just go to him. Don't worry. The solution's there. We just got to figure it out, look for it, and ask God to help us and direct us. That's all. So we may think it is, but wait. We need to trust God. He wants us to accomplish something. He has an assignment for each and every single one of us. He has a purpose and a plan, and he wants us to execute that. He wants us to accomplish something, and he will supply the need. It may not be what we think. Here we go again. What we think it is, but he will supply the need. This man also became the first prophet of the nation of Israel. His writings are a guide for obedience and righteousness, while showing many of his imperfections. Remember, many of his imperfections. According to his writings, he was born the first day of the 11th month, which is February. Deuteronomy 1:3. Then in Deuteronomy 31:2, it speaks of his age of 120 years old. God instructed him to go to the mountain and die at this time. So he was used for 120 years. He lived a long life and gave us lessons, many lessons, laws, prophecy, inspiration, while showing his own vulnerability. Remember, he got angry when he came down the mountain and he saw all the people, what they were doing, how they were idolizing. They were just a hot mess. And he came down from the mountain and he destroyed the first set of the commandments and had to go back up. Why? Because he had anger in him. So he was very vulnerable and he showed his flaws. Remember, he couldn't talk good. He showed that flaw. He was an example of healing. Here, it gets better. He was an example of healing. Did you know Moses was healed? Not once, but 3 times. 3 times. He was an example of healing in Exodus 4:6, 4:21, and 4:30. His hands were healed 3 times of leprosy. Not once, 3 times. Okay? 3 is complete in the Bible. He was completely healed the 3rd time. He should just receive the first time, but he was healed 3 times. So let this be an inspiration, because he struggled with stuff too, but God healed him. So if you're ever struggling with illness, just know you can be healed. Moses went through it also, and he was healed. The second time was when he went back up. He also fasted for 3 times, 40 days. 3 different times for 40 days he fasted. The first time was when he went up to the mountain for 40 days to get the tablets and the stone and receive the law. Okay. Then he came down. They were a hot mess. Broke the tablets. Had to go back up for another 40 days. And he fasted 40 days again. Well, didn't stop there. And that was Deuteronomy 9. It's Deuteronomy 9:17 through 18. So just wait. We're going to get there with the reading. The 3rd time, when Israel rebelled against Kadesh Barnea, which is in Deuteronomy 23:25. What a great man of God. 3 times he fasted for 40 days, fasting for the nation and for the people, not just himself. It wasn't for him. It was for others. In verse 17, 18, also it shall be, which he sits on the throne of the kingdom, he shall write for himself a copy of this law from the one before the priests, the Levites. This is instructing, commanding all kings to follow and meditate on the law. All of them. This is vital. And the one thing the kings did not follow, they did not follow the law in the Bible. The rest, continue reading. Wait till you continue reading. So I'm presenting this stuff, and as I'm presenting it, just these are things for you to look for as you're reading, because obviously we're not to verse 17 yet. So Joshua, so even though most of the kings did not follow this, Joshua was an exception. He was an exception. He's one of the few when we get to the book of Joshua, giving him, and he was an exception, and this gave him success and prosperity because he followed the law. Since he followed, he was very successful, and he had prosperity. He walked in prosperity. Nothing is said about the law for 600 years until David mentioned it in 1 Kings 2:3. After he mentioned it, there was silence on the law subject for another 60 years, maybe more during the reign of Asa. Just totally gone. It was years later when a copy was found in the temple and Joshua strived to follow it. Josaphat heeded or paid close attention to the law. He did it. Hezekiah also followed the law. As for the 23 kings of Judah, the law was ignored. Who had blessings? Who was used mightily? The ones that you followed the law were the ones that were used mightily. These are just observations for you to follow. When reading this book, you are going to enter into many blessings and curses. Many. While learning how to live holy and obedient to law. Pay attention to who was blessed and who was not blessed, okay? Moses knew he didn't have much time to live, right? He knew it. He knew he was at the end of his life when he wrote this book. He knew it was like at the end of the point. And God spoke to him in chapter 30 saying, hey, it's coming to an end and you got to go to the mountain. So he knew he didn't have much time. He also knew he was going to enter into he wasn't going to enter into the promised land with Israel. He knew. He was like, I'm not making it. God told me this. With this knowledge, he expressed the importance of the law as well as the obedience to the Lord. He loved the people so much. He just wanted them to receive all the blessings they were entitled to, and none of the curses. He wanted them to walk in it. He didn't want them to struggle like he struggled. How many of us do this? We don't want others going through what we went through, so we try teaching them a lesson. This is the book. This is Moses telling us, hey, don't be me. Don't do it. Walk in the blessings. You can have a better life. Just don't do the mistakes I did and what others did. This is a total book of lessons. This is life lessons and struggles that others went with. Moses don't do it. This is how to make your life easier. So many people were like, hey, if you don't go into that place, you're going to do so much better. If you get a job and work, you're going to have so much better financially. You're going to prosper so much more if you get a better job. If you work hard. How many of us tell this stuff? Put the video games down. Go outside. Get some sunlight, some fresh air. And your health's going to be so much. Moses is telling us, I'm using earthly examples, but he's telling us spiritually how to have a better life. I'm just trying to give you examples for you because sometimes it's easier if you can visualize and see things that's actually going on in your life. This is the same thing spiritually. Moses is like, hey, spiritual check, do this so you can make it to the promised land, because I didn't. Because of everything that was going on in me, I was not the leader. They weren't letting me lead, and I didn't make it there. Don't be that person. He's like, you could have so much better. So he loved the people so much. He wanted them to receive all the blessings they were entitled to and none of the curses. He reminded them of the covenant with God to encourage them to follow it so that they could make it to the promised land. That's all he wanted, them to make it to the promised land, because he loved them. This is the same thing with Jesus. He loved us so much, right? Hello. He wanted them to succeed. That's all he wanted. He wanted them to have success. Let this be an encouragement to you to be obedient to the Lord. Do not worry about others or what they have to give or what you have to give up. Do not get stuck in the desert, but rather ensure your walk into the promised land. Walk into it. The land flowing with milk and honey. Walk in the blessings of the Lord. Go into the promised land. Make sure you get there. The blessings we receive daily. We receive daily blessings. Daily blessings. Let this book remind you and let this book show you the daily blessings you walk in. We are to be holy, righteous, separated, and faithful servants of the Lord. And I pray that as you read this book, read the history of Moses in this book, that it refreshes you. It refreshes the law of God, that this book opens your eyes, that you are touched and refreshed and restored and renewed, and you see, like, I can make it to the promised lands. I have to just be willing to walk in righteousness and obedience to get there, that you are inspired to live a holy and separated life. Pray fully, prayerfully, read this book and ask God for direction. Ask God for direction as you read this book of the law, that your eyes will be open to the daily blessings you walk in. Enjoy this book, as you will receive many blessings as you read this book. You shall be blessed. I'm claiming it. You shall be blessed. Just read it, and I'm praying that you're blessed reading this. So I hope you enjoy this book. I hope this helps set the momentum for you, that this lets you focus on what's and that you have this desire and this anticipation of what this book is about and what you're going to read. I hope this sets the stage for it. So as you're reading this, I just pray that you just get all that you receive everything this book has for you, everything this teaching has for you. Just receive it. Receive it. And open your eyes. Make sure you pray before you read. And ask God, Lord, open my eyes, open my ears, open my spirit to receive what you want me to get out of this book, what you want me to receive out of this book. And see what it is. See how he opens your eyes to it. And just dive in. Dig into this book. As you're reading it, dig in and enjoy. And I will talk to you all later, but enjoy your reading until tomorrow when you have the next video. And I'll see you later. Have a blessed day. Love y'all.